school.
Right, exactly. All right, so you come to Galveston and everything. So when was your first day here?
I came right after spring break of last year.
Okay, all right.
So I was able to get in in the spring, and then start putting in the offense. And we went through spring training. So getting the kids used to me and learning the kids and just getting everybody on the same page.
So you're here for spring football in the summertime and kind of get a feel of the program and everything. All right, so working through the program and everything. So we're all gearing up for the start of school year, and then we have the interruption with Harvey. Harvey had paid us a visit and stayed a while, and so who would have thought Galveston would be luckier than Houston and stuff? Usually it's the reverse, right? When we have these storms and everything. So
right, we were sitting at home, and my wife said, "Hey, what are we going to do if it floods?" I said, "We're going to Galveston."
Yeah, exactly. I know. So who would have thunk that, right? So anyway, preparing for last week for our big game last Friday night in Lamarck. So what were some of the challenges that you faced as the offensive coordinator, getting the kids re-prepared? I know there was probably a regimen along the way, and then we had the interruption. So, then had a short school week and everything. So what were some of the challenges that you were facing?
Well, obviously, we didn't get to have a scrimmage or our first game. So, trying to get the kids back was our number one priority. Finding out where they were, what was going on with them. And football was kind of on the back burner.
Right.
You want to see how the kids are before you're worrying about playing a game.
Right.
But so once we get back in school, then it was trying to get stuff back to normal. And our kids did a great job of being focused and doing what they were coached to do. And ultimately led to us being successful on Friday night.
So everyone was called back to practice last Monday?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so called back, then we practiced all week. And okay, let's talk about the big game last Friday night. So had a big win, so it's always nice to go to someone else's house at a big game and win.
Right.
So we're off to a good start. I know that's a great morale booster, getting that first win. Even though it's preseason and you tell the kids, well, it's not a district game, but it's always nice to have that win, right?
It was, and it's even a little bit more special because bringing back the Lamarck and Galveston ball rivalry,
Right.
And they haven't done that in a couple of years. So
And I say Lamarck can be 1A, 3A, 6A. They're still tough.
absolutely,
They take their football serious.
They're a good
over
football
there.
program.
So, all right, so let's talk about the game, talk about some highlights and some things that you came away with.
Well, offensively, we did we played okay. Obviously, there's always going to be some things that you need to do better, but I feel that our kids competed and were very, very coachable. Learned a lot during the game. Through the course of the game, we tell them all the time there's going to be good things, there's going to be bad things. So we can't get too high when it's going good, and can't get too low when it's going bad. So at times during the first half, we struggled a little bit offensively, and but came back in the second half and bounced back and were able to put together some drives and execute some plays.
Took
and score
advantage of some
points.
turnovers and that type of thing, right?
Absolutely.
So that was a good thing. So talk about your starting quarterback.
Martavian Jackson, he's a solid player. He's kind of the leader of our offensive unit, and he played extremely well, and just distributed the ball to our receivers and got us into some good plays and did some good things, and we were able to be successful and move the football.
I know Martavian is a good kid. I had him last year and have him again this year, so he's smiling right now. So I'm doing my part to keep him pumped up and attitude good, which is, with these kids, it's, a lot about physical stuff, but it's mental too.
Right. All of our kids are doing a great job.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got great attitudes and a bunch of super kids.
So, and I gave my hats off and gave big kudos to Coach Andrews last week, because I saw a lot of coaches in the hallway stopping in classes, making sure their students were doing what they were supposed to be doing. So describe it. How do you keep up with your offensive, the players you were responsible for, just making sure grades are being done, they're here every day and that type of thing?
Well, first of all, they're here to get an education.
Right.
And if they don't take care of their stuff in the classroom, they're not able to play
Right.
for
No
us
pass,
Friday
no
night.
play, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And, so we take that very seriously, because this is one of the ways that we can encourage the kids to move on and go to college, hopefully go play football in college. And in order to do that, you have to have good grades. And so if you don't take care of your business in the classroom, you're limiting yourself of what options you may have.
Exactly. And I know Coach Brown is here in the studio. He's taking pictures and stuff. So my hat's off to him and the rest of the coaching staff. And I know you're this way too, because I know academic-wise, and it's by the way in every school, but in particular, I've always been impressed here. If a teacher's had any sort of issue, with an athlete, like maybe I haven't seen that student in a couple of days, and I know he's here or whatever. When you send an email, you just like click through at your door. All right, let me talk to X player.
Right.
Then the problem's resolved quickly. So we like that because it removes that layer of having to send a referral to an just where something starts spiraling out of control. Usually, between a teacher and a coach, if a teacher needs that little kick in the pants from a coach.
Absolutely.
You have that power and control.
And we try to be out in the classes as much as we can, and so our kids know that, hey, I better behave because coach may pop his head in any time. And we're doing that, and we do that on a daily basis.
I may have to do some extra running or something. They're not too crazy about doing,
Right.
at practice and everything. So great game on Friday. Is there anything that coming away from the game, there was a lot of highs. So what do you feel like moving forward we're going to work on this week, and we're going to continue to concentrate on getting ready for our next game this week?
We've just got to keep on working on getting better. Not necessarily worrying about who who we're playing,
Right.
as much as it is figuring out how we're going to get better and execute more and just be able to be more successful on a consistent basis.
So talk about your how you're part of the daily routine of football practice. So it's after school, and you're the offensive coordinator. What happens when the guys start appearing?
Well, during the period, we spend a lot of time in the weight room. We're trying to get our kids stronger.
So it's during the athletic period.
During the athletic period. So that's pretty much on a daily basis. And then after school, we'll come in and we'll meet, and then we get out and hit the field. And from the time that we get the kids to the time that we leave, everything is very, very organized, and it's pretty intense. So the kids they're understanding that when they're here, that they're here to work, because you won't get that time back. Time's the only thing that you can't get back, and so we're selling that to the kids that, hey, while we're here, let's make the most of it.
So when you're meeting with the offense, like in the locker room, is it still X's and O's on the board and everything, or how do you?
Sometimes, but most of the time it's just seeing where the kids are and what's going on with them.
It's not chalkboarding more, it's whiteboard, right?
Right. Because it's not about the X's and O's. It's about the relationships and building the kids up and having them trust in what you're doing, knowing that you care about them. If the kids know that, then they're going to go out and they're going to play harder. And so it's not just about the X's and O's.
So here's a question from left field. It's not to stump you or anything, but how has technology changed coaching over the years?
Well, it's amazing that just the film exchange. You don't have to meet Saturday mornings to go trade videos and all that stuff. So it makes it a lot easier, and it's easier to break down stuff, and enables you to do a better job of coaching the kids. Whether it's with the headsets on the sidelines or the communications between the coaches or just the video. It makes our job a whole lot easier.
Talk about the headsets on the sidelines. So during a game, you have headsets on, correct? And I know there's coaches up in the booth. So what's the communication going back and forth? What is their job up top to send down to you?
Well, they're looking for certain things that the defenses are doing. They're looking for certain things that our offenses are doing. So it's both trying to be one step ahead of the other team, as well as correcting mistakes that your own guys are making. So it's just a constant open communication between all the coaches.
Right. All right, so we have another big game this week. So this is we're going to play Straight Jesuit, right? And that's up in Houston, correct?
Correct.
Where is your school at?
It's on the west side of Houston, in the Westheimer, Briar Forest, Beltway 8 area.
So obviously they probably didn't have any water damage where we're going, right?
But a lot of the kids that live, they go there. They go.
Yeah, it's a private school, so kids come from all over, but primarily from that area.
Right.
I know a lot of people will move to the area if they're kid is going to go to that private school.
Yeah, my nephew actually goes to that school. And
Oh, cool.
He lives out in Fleetwood, and their house is still underwater.
Oh, wow.
So
All right, so how do you, coming off the big high on Friday's game, the team, you all have practice on Saturdays, correct, the next day after game day?
yeah, we come in and we watch the film and get treatment, and just kind of get the kinks out.
Tape up any bruises or cuts or anything, right? And
Yeah.
kind of decompress, right, and just they can
Right.
exhale and say, all right, let's start focusing on the new week, right? So
Try to get work out some of the soreness, and put last week behind us. That way we're ready to work on.
So,
this
what are a couple of key things that about Straight Jesuit that maybe you know of that we need to focus on, or?
Well, Strake is a good team. They're very
Mhm.
very well coached.
Mhm.
They're going to be a disciplined football team. So we've got to go out and we've got to execute. So it's not so much as who we're playing,
Right.
as we got to worry about
Right.
worry about us. And I think if we go out and execute, control the ball, and tackle defensively, then we're going to be in a good position at the end of the game.
And then getting the guys' head, yeah, this is still preseason, but don't take them lightly, right? That's when next time they can sneak and
Right.
beat you, catch you off guard, right? Just because they're a private school or whatever, doesn't mean that.
Right.
I mean, they're going to probably come gunning for us, and know that they pull an upset, that will be great. But I think we'll be ready.
I hope so.
Like I said, winning that first game, especially in Lamarck, have the Clash of the Causeway back again. It was sweet, especially playing over there, right?
Absolutely. We went down to Lamarck, and we didn't have any locker room facilities or nothing, so it was kind of
I know. It's like
chaotic.
I was like, when it was halftime, I was like, oh, there's her locker room. They're in the end zone, in the grass, sitting down in the mosquitoes and stuff too. So hats off to you all keeping the guys' head straight and stuff, and not pulling any divas on you, right? So I'm not sitting over here, right? Whatever. So it was great. It's great to get away with that victory, and fans leaving the stadium. And how great was? Did you see all leaving? Just notice how many canned goods were collected that night.
Yeah, there was a bunch. We could hardly get out the gate because
I
they
know,
had
and
it
that
all
was just on
blocked
our
off.
and that was just on our side too.
Right.
Leaving, I got caught up in everything that was going on. Leaving, I thought, oh yeah, I go look at all these canned goods, and all of a sudden I thought this is just on our side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of neat to see, because when we scored that last touchdown, there's no way that they were going to come back and just see their side stadium emptying seats and stuff too. Kind of nice to be on that side,
That's always a good thing.
Be on the winning side
when the other team
and
starts to
everything.
leave.
All right, Coach Klingler, thank you for visiting. I'm sure we will talk many more times as the season progresses, and as I threw the offer out to Coach Anders, send us some players and stuff. You can bring players, this time when we record. So we're happy to talk to players, and I know our listeners love hearing the kids talk and whatever. And if you want to honor a player of the week or whatever, we're happy to do that and blast that out. Not only for physical feats, but with soon there'll be a first 6 week report card. 3 or 4 weeks, and so if you want to celebrate some good grades or whatever, we'll be happy to do that for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening for this week's edition of Tornado Football on K-Tor the Tornado, and we will see you again next week.